Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Jewell with the CTE Foundation, and I am here with Wayne Ingraham, who is the partner of Link Creative. Wayne, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us what it is that you do at Link Creative. What is Link Creative?
Sure. So Link Creative is a graphic and development firm or agency here in Santa Rosa, California. As a business owner, I do multiple duties: operations, billing, invoicing, sales, research, production, design, programming, customer service. The list goes on. But I'd say, generally speaking, mainly graphic design with some coding.
So what got you into the creative industry?
Sure. So it's a bit of a long answer, but I'd say my grandmother took a programming class back in the late 70s.
Well, you're going way back.
I'm going way back. And my grandma didn't really like it so much, but my mom was pregnant with me and she was going to college. She didn't really have a direction at the time. And my grandmother said, "Oh, you should try this programming class. I have the book," right? So she gave her the book and my mom took it and she absolutely loved it. She's really good at math and those kind of go hand in hand. And the that basically led her on that path for the rest of her life. She's been programming ever since. And she, I guess gave me the nerd gene because we got on the internet before it was the internet. It was a bulletin boards where you'd go and just see a list of files. You'd request to download something, and then if they approved it, you'd download it. That was the internet back when I first tried it. And I remember the curiosity when browsers started becoming a thing and going through different websites. Some looked like garbage and some were really cool looking. And I was like, why is one look really good and the other one not so much? So I started getting some books and looking online and just learning as much as I could so that I could create, a website on my own. And when I did, I was really proud of myself to have seen a problem and fixed it to a way that I liked. And after that, I was like, I kind of want to do this. So that's really what kind of set me on that path.
So that's how you got started, but where along the lines did you decide to start your own business?
At the time, it was more of a hobby and just something that I was passionate about, but not necessarily something that made me say, I should do this for a living. I was working at a bank and I was talking to one of the customers who had a really good rapport with, who was also a business owner. And he was talking about how he was, needing to get some marketing together and he really needed to get a website going. And I was like, oh, I've been doing that a lot as a hobby. And he's like, well, I'd hire you to do that. So that really kind of set me off. I was like, all right, happy to do that. So I got to learn a lot from just that experience alone. And I think that's when I started reaching out to some of the other nerds in high school that I was friends with that I knew that did this and that we would share, kind of our what we've learned and stuff. And I was like, hey, would you guys be down to help me with this website project? And that's kind of where we started the company at that point, which is, gone through a few different iterations, but yeah, that's what started it.
And Link is an acronym, right?
It is. Yeah. So for my friends, Eric Lindsay, Peter Norton, myself, Wayne Ingraham, and my friend Scott Klein, we all got together and said, hey, we should start a web and graphic business. And we realized that our initials, our last name initials, were LINK. So that's where we came up with the, Lindsay Ingraham Norton Klein Creative, or just Link Creative.
If you would have kept it Lindsay Ingraham Norton Klein, it would sound like a law firm.
Yeah, totally.
I think you made the right decision to make it an acronym.
Yeah.
So Wayne, out of all the different creative outlets, websites, graphic design, all that, what is your favorite thing to work
on? I really like designing things that are not typically trends. Something that I might get some pushback on from a client that may be a little bit more conceptual. just because it's really cool to see that and disrupt what you see over and over again. Those are always fun, and they create new challenges because as a designer, it can be very easy to be handed a problem and instantly try to just push a solution that you've already accomplished because you know all the inner workings. I think there's a quote that uh, a hammer always sees a problem as a nail. Even when you're presented with a screw, you're trying to solve it in the same way. And I don't like that. I like to keep going back to the drawing board and figure out new ways to approach things. And that's always exciting to be able to do that problem solving and not just follow the same path.
Well, you mentioned things like problem solving and that need for creativity, and those are obvious soft skills that one would need in order to be successful in this industry. And I'm wondering, maybe you can talk about some of the other skills that someone would need to become a web designer, a graphic designer, or a creative in general.
Yeah, sure. I'd say if you think a little bit differently or you were always thought of as the weird one, that's always helpful because you probably look at things in a slightly different perspective. And I think that's been very helpful for me in just when someone asks, riddles or something and I answer it differently than everyone else. It feels weird that I don't have the same answer as everyone else. And it makes me feel like a little self-conscious about it, but at the same time, it's something I should be proud of because it means that I can think differently and approach a problem with a out-of-the-box solution, or just kind of look at the things that other people might not. But yeah, those are always very helpful when trying to look at a problem, especially a common one, and come up with something else.
So, as the last question, I always like to ask for a piece of advice because the students who are watching this are starting to explore careers and they might have an inkling of whether or not they might be the creative type or not. But perhaps you can give, with your experience, one piece of advice to the students as they start to make that decision and start to explore the different options.
Sure. So one, I would for sure say, find out what you like, what you don't like. Those are equally important too. And find out in the things that you do like, what do you want to be a hobby and and or passion, and what do you want to make money at? Because those aren't always the same thing. If you're really into video games, for instance, you could be a game tester, and repeating the same gameplay over and over again might make you not like that thing that you were passionate about. So it's really important to determine what it is that you like and what you don't like, and kind of separate what you think might be good for you to do as a career, and try to do something different too, so that you have a hobby that can take you out of that. Because I know for me, I always enjoy what I do, but having something that's completely different helps me whenever I'm trying to figure out something and I just don't have the solution yet. Just making my brain take a vacation helps me think of stuff kind of in the back of my mind, and it helps me solve things or get an inspiration that I wouldn't if I just stayed in there, But I would also say, don't try to plan everything out, because the more you try to have control over something, the less you have. For instance, if I were to plan out my career from when I was in high school, I wouldn't be in the field I'm in, because a lot of the things that are in my field didn't exist when I was in high school. So you can imagine, there was no YouTube to watch how to do something. There was no, people didn't have browsers that I needed to build a website for. So keep yourself open. Try to get really invested in things that you get excited about, and learn as much as you can in your industry, things that are related to your industry, and things that are completely different, because those are going to help you, one, find happiness, which is a true measure of success to me, and also help you have a broader understanding and perhaps a better set of tools to solve different things.
Well, and I want to thank you for being here with us today on behalf of the CT Foundation and the students. We appreciate your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank you.